let me give you some powerful tips for how you can blow the depth of connection you have in your social interactions just out of the water. And it's all about the frame from which you're connecting to that person. Let me give you a couple examples. You can connect in the transactional frame or the transcendent frame. Or in other words, you could call it the competitive frame or the collaborative frame. A lot of times when we connect socially with people, there's sort of this inbuilt template of connecting in an ego way. One-upmanship, comparison, judgment. Basically, trying to pin yourself against another person, tell a story a little bit better than their story, or to criticize them. And that has been built into the old template for a long time. That's the competitive frame. That's the transactional. You're always trying to get something out of it for your ego, to validate yourself, or just for resources to live on a survival level. That is the old paradigm. And there's only so much depth you can connect to somebody in that paradigm. The new paradigm of deep connection requires sovereignty, meaning that you totally own your experience and you communicate transparently, that you actually share what's on your heart, you actually share what's on your mind, and you're not excessively editing that. This is the transcendent frame, because when you have sovereignty over yourself, you don't need anything from somebody, meaning you're coming with a cup that is already full. So you don't need a transaction, you don't need a trade, you don't need a barter with that person to get a little bit of something to make you feel a little bit better or to increase your survival rate. Same is true when you are in sovereignty. You can actually truly collaborate. And a true collaboration actually creates synergy. And that's the key. So when you can create synergy with somebody in a dialogue, in a relational dynamic, then you have moved into the transcendent frame and out of the transactional. And trust me, this is so powerful because literally you will connect so much deeper with people and it will be like night and day. And the crazy part about this is that it actually gets you results of relationships, meaning better relationships, results in terms of people just loving you because you're coming with the unconditionally loving frame. So it's hard not to love somebody who's unconditionally loving. You know what I'm saying? It's very challenging to be like, I fucking hate that guy. Unless you have a deep, deep wound inside of yourself and you have suppressed that same element within you. So it really does get results. It is the deeper way of connecting and it's so, so much more fulfilling. So what I'd love to encourage you to do is to watch yourself and to watch the dynamics of the relationships you get into and watch if it goes into that transactional mode where like, hey, I'm just going to tell a story just to one up you, or there's going to be a little bit of a back and forth, like maybe I can get this out of you, and we're kind of beating around the bush. We're not really saying what our true needs and desires are, and we're not really being transparent about our emotionality for fear of being vulnerable. Because when you're vulnerable in the transactional, then you can be manipulated. But not if you're vulnerable in a sovereign way, meaning that you own your vulnerability, you're aware of your vulnerability, and you need not change it, you need not fix it, and you don't need anything from that person. That's the sovereign energy.